Welcome to this video on the need for active learning in transdisciplinary education. Let's start with the need for a transdisciplinary approach. Real life is complex, dynamic, and messy, and the contemporary and emerging problems we face require a transdisciplinary approach. Now, a transdisciplinary approach goes beyond traditional disciplinary boundaries. It involves cooperation between academics, practitioners, and other societal actors, and it emphasizes active participation and participatory approaches. Key to transdisciplinary approach is transdisciplinary education. In transdisciplinary education is important for equipping students with the knowledge, skills, and competencies they need to work in a transdisciplinary way and tackle these complex problems. What we know is that gaps between abstract knowledge and real-life situations are often difficult to bridge, so it can be difficult to mobilize and apply this knowledge in real-life situations. And we know that what we have learned is closely connected with how we have learned it and the context in which it is learned. And knowledge and skills are often best mobilized under familiar or equivalent conditions. This makes it easier to recall and apply this knowledge. But professionals also need to be able to respond to changing and to new situations. This requires analytical and creative thinking and problem solving. Cognitive conflict or feeling puzzled is often an important stimulus for learning, and it forces us to organize and reorganize what we learn, enhancing our analytical skills towards lifelong learning. Students need to build competencies that allow them to work in a transdisciplinary way. So they need to develop the capacity to mobilize their knowledge and skills and apply them in complex and dynamic real-world situations, as well as be able to navigate new challenges through analytical and creative thinking and problem solving. It's difficult to develop these sorts of capacities and gain these competencies through traditional teacher-centered passive educational approaches alone. And so we need active learning for transdisciplinary education. So in active learning, students do the work. They play an active role in their own learning. So there's a shift in the role of students from passive consumers of knowledge delivered by others to active participants in their own learning. They work towards building required competencies, formulate and contribute to their own learning goals, actively construct their own understanding, and bring in their own learning materials and draw from their own experiences. At the same time, they're encouraged to collaborate and share with peers while learning from others, and to draw on and make use of everyday, real-life situations to further their learning. This motivates, activates, involves, and empowers students. It enhances critical and creative thinking, as well as analytical skills. It involves deep learning instead of superficial learning, helps students to meaningfully retain, mobilize, and apply what is learned better, and simulates real-life tasks, making application much easier in the future. It's compatible with competency-based learning, enhances ownership over learning, provides opportunities to build collaboration and communication skills, and boost confidence in engaging with each other. And these are particularly important in the context of transdisciplinary education and transdisciplinary work. Active learning also requires that we consider a shift in the role of the teacher. So teachers and other experts determine the learning objectives and outcomes based on required competencies. They form the structures around education. They don't teach in a traditional sense, rather they facilitate the learning process, and so are often referred to as facilitators in active learning. Facilitators encourage and stimulate students to develop and use their competencies skills to actively collect, analyze, integrate the elements they need to respond to real-life problems adequately. But it's not always so simple. As educators, we might find it difficult to trust that students can learn outside of the traditional approaches to teaching that we are used to. Teachers often focus on our own disciplinary expertise as a starting point for curricula, rather than on the competencies students and emerging professionals need to develop. And active learning requires time. It requires resources and facilities. For example, spaces in which to conduct the activities, certain resources, and real-life settings to which we have access. So it does require some time and resources, but there is flexibility to tailor the activities according to the resources available to us. Overall, active competency-based learning is crucial for transdisciplinary education. Thank you for watching. We invite you to watch the other videos in this series.